Dear students, a very good morning to you all. Today we will talk about South America and particularly Chile, Cuba, Colombia, Mexico and Costa Rica. These are the places on which we will stress. Let us start with Chile. Chile has a large geographical variety. Now, this variety has influenced the creative productions. Most of the activities are concentrated in the capital, that is Santiago. The second cultural center, that is the city of Valparaiso. Valparaiso is identified as a World Heritage. The Consejo Nacional de Cultura y las Artes was shifted to that city. Teatro Amil is the major international festival of performing arts in Chile, where world-class dance shows are also included. Other festivals with an international and national outreach are Danza Bode, also can be said as Valparaiso, and Danza Mayor, a festival that has been organized by the Universidad Mayor in the public space of Santiago. Well, there is also the festival de Video Danza of the Universidad Artes, created in 2005, has national and international guests in that festival. The festival de Teatro Físico, organized by the Universidad Finisterrae. The festival Movimiento 6, organized by the Teatro Camino. The first edition was in 2008. Feria de la Danza and Dia de la Danza, coordinated by the CNCA, that is the Consejo Nacional de la Cultura y las Artes. Well, apart from all these, there are festivals with small scale and short duration works like those that have been organized by the Centro Cultural Nemesio Antunes and Espacio Nimico. Chilean contemporary dance is coming up. Some of the reasons for which the national dance scene have gained greater awareness are a diversification of artistic languages and stagings, more spaces and festivals that include dance, and the creation of new careers in universities. Well, unfortunately, less audiences, self-management problems, centralization, few studios and precise postgraduate programs continue to be hurdles to be surmounted. All well-equipped dance spaces are in the capital, and the important ones are Teatro Mayor, Teatro Camino, Teatro Mori, Teatro Universidad de Chile, Teatro Baquedano, Teatro Municipal, Teatro Matucana 100, Teatro Universidad Católica, Sala Isidora Zegueres, Teatro Facetas, Teatro Universidad Finisterrae and Factoria Universidad Arces, and Teatro San Ginés. In the near future, Santiago will have an arts space funded by the state with a theatre just for dance. There are more than 15 professional contemporary dance companies in the cities. Because of less financial support, they had difficulty in continuing the work. Even though the present condition of independent companies is uncertain, they are being supported in various forms like institutional strengthening, professionalization of independent companies, creation and increasing of historical and theoretical dance research. The solitary contemporary dance company receiving financial support from the government today is the Ballet Nacional Chileno, belonging to the Universidad de Chile. It was created in 1945 and has also a contemporary production unit to it. The chief Chilean dance class associations are Pro Danza, Colegio de Professionals de Danza and the Sindicato Nacional de Trabajadores Sinatad. Both try to protect the rights of the dance workers and professionals. There are very few institutional subsidies for independent dance and scarce opportunities for private companies' support. The companies manage to live on as government grants, like the Fondo de Desarrollo de la Cultura y las Artes, are available to them for creation, research, events, and touring nationally and regionally. The Chilean companies visit overseas with government grant funds. These may be applied at the DIRAC, which is the Dirección de Asuntos Culturales, an institution which depends on the Ministry of Foreign Relations. The DIRAC issues grants for national artists' tours abroad, cultural diplomatic activities and residencies for dancers and choreographers. Many international agencies were instrumental in the 80s for supporting the beginning of contemporary dance here in Chile. The Instituto Chileno Norteamericano, the Instituto Chileno Francés, and the Goethe Institute. Thanks to them, important personalities of the international contemporary dance scene came to Chile, and Chilean artists managed to participate in festivals abroad, especially the American Dance Festival. Unfortunately, these days there is almost no sponsoring from these institutions. There is no financial support or scholarships for the making and training of contemporary dancers. The Goethe and the Centro Cultural de España usually make their spaces available for independent dance. However, in 2010, we observed that 1% of the national budget has been declared for cultural policies. The Consejo Nacional de la Cultura y las Artes is the organization that looks after the development of national arts. Through its dance department, it encourages the artistic development of dance. The state is promoting the production of cultural industries, improving new relationships between the arts and private companies through the Corporación de Fomento and the Servicio de Cooperación Técnica. At present, there are in Santiago 9 universities which include the dance career and one in Valparaiso, apart from a great number of dance schools and independent spaces in which dancers and choreographers are trained. All universities include contemporary dance in their curriculum with techniques like buto, release and contract in the general training. The most important ones are the Universidad de Chile, Universidad Arcis, and Universidad Academy de Humanismo Cristiano. The chief stream of personalities who initiated the Chilean contemporary dance worked in the 70s. The military coup in 1973 resulted in the collapse of official cultural companies and institutions. Hence, the creations of independent companies with new ideas in terms of dance languages were initiated. They involved in more experimentation with the modernity models. In the 80s, contemporary dance was taken in by the universities, recognizing and integrating the new languages that had been imported from abroad. The expression of their most autochthonous values together with the appropriation of techniques and valid modes to put on stage universal aspirations. This is what Paulina Osona said about the dance of Cuba. Cuba is a country that has a large history of producing dancers and dances. From the very beginning, Cuban dancers work incessantly in the task of searching their own or national ways of expression. These pioneers are renowned for this. Alicia Alonso, Fernando Alonso and Alberto Alonso, each of them at his or her own time as dancer or choreographer, and by the means of their specialty, which was mostly ballet, tries to take distance from classical narratives. Instead, they focus on topics like social exploitation in their country or stylized popular folkloric and Afro descendant dances like the rumba, Colombia, the bolero, the bote, the conga, the carnival, and the bailes, the los Irenes or diablitos of the Caravali culture. In this way, they mix Cuban customs with ballet with the goal of rescuing and showing off Cuban culture and its richness. Since 1948, Cuba starts giving shape to what is known as the Cuban School of Ballet. Its main company, the National Ballet of Cuba, searches to express the autochthonous matters since its very foundation. This, understood as a necessary issue to attain identity, has been achieved thanks to a solid belief to the idea that the national spirit reaches its highest goal in a cultural movement once it accomplishes to manifest itself through universal aesthetical shapes. That type of identity is considered as a national and unique Cuban identity. It aims to show the ideal of highlighting Cuban distinctiveness through the topics of art and its technique. One example of this way of proceeding is noticeable in the ballet of Camagüey, which creates ballets from legends, poems of Cuban writers or about renowned figures of the island. Consequently, topics of ballets are taken from writings by Jose Marti, Gertrudis Gomez de Avellaneda or Jose Lazema Lima, compositions by Manuel Mauri, Amadeo Roldan or Felix Guerrero serve as music and paintings by Rene Portocarrero, Servando Cabrera, Moreno or Mariano Rodriguez appear on stage. All their artwork is used to build the Cuban made dance. Other recorded examples are the ballet Dion, which is the first ballet with music composed by Eduardo Sazze de Fuentes, or the ballet Despertad, inspired in the Cuban Revolution, which is choreographed by Alicia Alonso to music by the Cuban classical composer Carlos Farinas. The path of identity is also followed by the renowned modern choreographer and dancers Ramiro Guerra. Ramiro studies with Martha Graham and Doris Humphrey in New York and then directs the company Danza Nacional de Cuba at the time. He is given the merit of having introduced this modern dance style in Cuba and is known for his interest in Cuban topics during a period of his choreographic career. Examples of it are his pieces Mulato, Mambi, El Milagro, the Anaquel and the Suit Yoruba. Here are some of his words. To explore myths of the island and foreign ancestors, to look at the past with tools from the present to build a future, to raise an individual shape into an universal character, but without losing color, our dance, our shades, qualities and focal points. Only we, through our own language, can reveal it. Cuban contemporary dance choreographers have also explored the topic of the Cuban lifestyle and its daily life as creative and compositional ingredients, gestures, manners, experiences and exploitations of roots and customs appear in choreographic pieces. A representative figure of this is Lorna Bodstall, who creates the company Así Somos and several pieces with that kind of topics. Her working trend, influenced by Nicolais and Cunningham, combines geometry, plastic suggestion and humor to lead the audience into a reflection about the being and doing of Cubans. In the same way, the choreographer Isabel Bustos and her group Retazos, created in 1987, have gone through a research for capturing the Latin American spiritual being and, as they call it, a reflexive and vital dance. Caridad Martinez, who was a main dancer at the National Ballet of Cuba, tries to create a group for researching new ways to reveal herself to the audience. The folkloric and modern experiments her own movement technique with the goal of researching into the daily life movement and contributing with the new aesthetic values to the dancing speech. Finally, there is the group Teatro Danza del Caribe, which emphasizes in history, legends and traditions from the Caribbean region, and Danza Abierta, which explores the natural gesture and the Cuban conflicts. In Colombia, Missouri Contemporary Ballet is a proficient dance company that creates and presents high quality productions and educational opportunities through the art of contemporary ballet. It attempts to boost up the appreciation of contemporary ballet through educational outreach programs, highlighting pioneering, sporty and high quality performances. MCB looks for collaboration with talented artists and offer them occasion to generate exceptional works, enhancing audience experience. MCB furthers its vision through the School of MCB by enlightening the artistic and personal development of students by providing a supportive environment of dance study. Columbia George Dance Academy is a performing arts school contributing professional dance instruction to students of all ages and ability levels. Dancers obtain strong technical training in their selected discipline, exclusive performance chances and the backup to become positive and imaginative performers. The Barnard College Department of Dance is under the Columbia University. It is located in a world dance capital and offers an interdisciplinary program that merges the study of dance within a liberal arts setting of academic and artistic study. Students work with expert artists whose work enriches contemporary American dance. They also study with exceptional research scholars, making thinking about and writing about art are an essential part of the liberal arts education. For this reason, the Department of Dance offers technique courses for students of all levels of knowledge, while opening its other courses to majors and non-majors alike, who may also audition for its productions. The department partners with cultural institutions in New York City to connect students with the professional world. The Department of Dance is fully recognized with the National Association of Schools of Dance. Now we talk about Mexico. The development of dance in Mexico occurs in varied forms during the 20th century, both for the different genres of dance as for the teaching which already exists there through the system of academics. It is important to point out that Mexican choreographers and dancers have been in a constant search for using topics that identify them, whether they are historical, cultural or from the daily life, and this interest is noticeable in all Mexican dance modalities. Dancers and choreographers of his country are inspired by the Mexican Revolution of 1910 and show situations of a national character in their pieces in a resonance with artists from all fields who show interest in making a Mexican art. With the arrival of modern dance, other shapes and themes are explored. They move away from any folklorist attempt to induce the creation of expressive and forceful choreographic events that lean on the figures of Mexican legends, poetry, painting and social life. The choreographer Guillermina Bravo, who founds the Mexican Dance Academy and the Mexican National Ballet, stands out among the figures of this trend. Nowadays, contemporary dance artists usually turn to universal topics that are easily identifiable wherever, like a war, social differences, AIDS and so on. There is also the company Delphos, founded in 1992, or the company Quatora Monoreal, founded by Ivo Sotelo and Benito Gonzalez, which bases its search in a form of highly improvised and critical dance that is uncomfortable both for the dancers and for the audience. Other companies of a similar importance are Antares Danza Contemporaneana, directed by Miguel Mancillas, El Cuerpo Mutable, Alicia Sanz's Compañía, Apoc Danza, Contempo Danza, Baro Rosso, and Contra Danza, which searches a contemporary language that may rescue the Mexican popular culture. One of the most important contemporary dance companies of the country is one of Tania Perez Salas, founded in 1994. One of the torchbearers of South American modern dance, Tania Dance Company was founded by Tania Perez Salas, a prominent Mexican dancer and choreographer. She has won awards in Mexico's national dance competition, the Paris International Dance Competition, and many other competitions at home and abroad. Her ardent and stunningly beautiful choreography provide the company with an inimitable artistic style. These are also popular and are highly praised by reputed companies and festivals such as the National Dance Company of Mexico and the Bienal de la Danse in Lyon, etc. Under her direction, the Tania Dance Company has been invited to tour in many countries in Americas and Europe. Delfos Danza Contemporanea is Mexico's important contemporary dance company and ranks among the best companies in Latin America, both artistically and as leaders in the field. Delfos is a world-class company based in Mazatlan, Mexico, which inspires audiences, students and communities with outstanding performances and in-depth residencies. Their performances evoke emotion and introspection embodied by their physical grace, athleticism and vibrance. Celebrating 20 plus years, Delfos Danza Contemporanea tours throughout the world, creating enduring relationships whenever they go, seeking opportunities for collaboration and exchange, and passionately committed to dance education. There is an outstanding figure of the Mexican dance that has to be mentioned, Jose Lehman. Born in Culasan, Sinaloa in 1908, he is Doris Humphrey's pupil and has a tight working relationship with her till her death in 1958. Lehman has a special interest in topics that are related to the Mexican feeling and being. Some critics have attributed his charm to his specifically Mexican sense of shapes or to the values of his Latin American heritage. Collaborating with various Mexican artists, he creates choreographies including his perception of being a Mexican, like Los Cuatro Soles or The Emperor Jones, for which he works with the Brazilian composer Heitor Villa-Lobos. In an interview by the American magazine to Betty Jones, who was an important dancer of Lemon's company and is remembered for her role of Desdemona in The Moor's Pavan, she is asked about the Lehman technique. After naming technical issues like the fall and recovery and the successiveness of movements, she emphasizes that Lehman encouraged them to find their own ways of moving and that those shapes should contain a meaning that would talk to them. We will talk now about the dance scene in Costa Rica. It is very important to mention that Costa Rica, unlike other countries in Latin America, has used the classical technique as a training method mainly and hasn't had the aspiration of creating a national company that represents the country. Therefore, there is not a national ballet in its history, but only figures that with their careers on stage have written the Costa Rican dance history. Choreography as an art arises in this country at the end of the 1930s with the modern dance pieces of Grace Olindo. She is formed in classical technique and in the school of Isadora Duncan and directs the ballet Josefino. At the beginning of the 40s, one of her students, Margarita Esquivel, Rohor Moser, who has a significant influence from Martha Graham and studies at the Columbia School, creates the Ballet Ditiko and directs it from 1940 to 1945. Her choreographic research focuses on creating her own philosophy of dance, which she calls Technica Plastica or the plastic technique. It is said that it pointed towards the development of a choreographic vocabulary of great dramatic accents. For her, the technique and the body should function for a vocabulary that could produce the tragedy and search for identity of the human being on stage. She also creates her own notating system for dance with which she records her ballets and for which she is remembered as the first choreographer to try to turn dance into a genuine form of expression. After her, the figure of Margarita Bertheu appears. She studies in Cuba with Alicia Alonso and works as a teacher at the Tico Ballet. Involved in fine arts as well, she collaborates with Esquivel in the creation of sets and costumes for her pieces. In 1945, after Esquivel's death, Bertheu creates the Ballet Pro Arte with the goal of pursuing the work started at the Tico Ballet and hoping to give the dancer a wider education through the study of other arts. This lasts till 1948 when she loses the working place and decides to close the ballet. For that reason, Teresita Orozco and Nidia Naranjo, two of her most outstanding pupils, go abroad to continue their studies in dance. In 1953, the Conservatorio Castella is created by Arnoldo Herrera, who takes over the task of forming dancers with a high technical level. Those dancers spread and developed dance in the country since the 1970s, with their involvement in several institutions like Ballet Moderno di Camara or Danza Corps. This last one, directed by Rogelio Lopez, makes emphasis in expressivity and exploration for technical purist skills and worries about social issues too. That is recognizable in some of his pieces like Tiempo di Vibraciones and Gentil del Sol. In 1958, Maireya Barboza, who has studied in Mexico, Europe and the US, arrives to the country and settles in San Jose. She produces modern dance pieces in which she participates as dancer. This and the creation of the first contemporary dance school of Costa Rica is possible thanks to the support of the Office of the Arts and Letters. Barboza, who shows the modern dance technique to the country for the first time, treats issues like identity, social violence, loneliness and lack of communication in her pieces. The National University in Heredia creates a dance degree under the direction of Elena Gutierrez in 1974. There are currently undergraduate and postgraduate programs offered in the institution, which is in charge of teaching professionals in the field of dance. Several independent groups are founded also around the middle of the 70s. Danza Corps and the Ballet di Camara, for example, which treat social and political current issues of the country in their choreographic pieces. In 1981, the Compañía de Cámara de la Universidad is created and George Ramirez takes over its direction. The company creates pieces with as few as sets as possible, which are easily performed in any type of stage. A festival of young choreographers opened to any choreographer of the country is founded that same year. After several years, it changes its name to International Festival of Young Choreographers and accepts all dance genres. It is given great importance for being a showcasing platform for new choreographers and a potential initiator of audiences. Victor Hugo Fernandez makes the following approximation of the choreographic art of his country. It is not possible to talk about a Costa Rican dance, but it is indeed a consolidated movement, and there are national choreographic shows that involve research both in national matters as in issues that are related to movement.